I mean, that's the whole idea, is the rebuilding Buff. Of course, the ultimate goal of the ending would be, to rebuild Buff all the way to being Buff Bagwell again back in the ring, and it's just, I had a really bad car wreck, but I mean, I'm still in shape. I'm still look, I'm still
You still
buff.
look good, yeah.
I'm still in shape and all that. It's just, I'm 52, and but at the same time, I know, I got another run left in me. It's just a matter if they give it to me or not, And I wasn't going to win. I wasn't going to win people over
hmm
just because of my past, but at the same time, I knew that the WWF turned me down to go to rehab. I'm the only person in the history of time that the WWE and WWF, because I was at both, uh, turned me down for rehab.
Oh my
Not
goodness.
saying any names, but hundreds of names have gone multiple times,
hmm
and big guys, big names, little names, and they turn me down. It's just ridiculous. So I just said, look, I'll do it myself. I can rebuild me myself. So
And you certainly
we
are.
we started that on my podcast called Rebuilding Buff that I have, and and all of a sudden Dallas called me with this opportunity to change my life or die. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of falling perfect into place. So here I am, change or die, and I'm going to change. So I knew it would take, it needed to be something like this to kind of to win the crowd, to win my fans back, to show
hmm
them that I truly was, you know, doing something to prove my positive and my change of realizing that maybe my way wasn't the right way and just doing it a little bit wrong, and having just being excited again, period, has been a huge thing. And that's been a lot of fun to have something that was exciting again, like it used to be, man. It used to be
hmm
so much fun and exciting. And I lost a little bit of that, and just getting it back is a blast. So I'm having a good time on Twitter, and
It
just
certainly seems that way.
yeah, it's been a blast.
That I remember back in the day when we used to always have to go to the gates like 5 or 6 hours early just to see you guys come in.
Oh, hey, let me tell you something. I always was one of the guys that went to the gate too.
hmm
And Luger and Sting used to always dog me out for that. And I was like, look, man, I said, I said, look, there's fans that literally are waiting by the fence. The problem with that is ultimately they were right. Because it is hard to win,
hmm
because you can sit there and sign 100 autographs. And if you walk away and didn't sign one guy's, you got cussed.
Oh, I
Hey
can
man,
imagine.
I can't believe you didn't sign mine. So you just, once you start it, unless you sit there and sign everyone, which isn't feasible or possible, you get cussed. And it's like, damn, man, I mean, I took time to, and Luger and Sting would be in the car going, I told you. I
Can't
told you.
please
And you know
everybody,
what?
unfortunately.
And it sucked, man, because I still, no matter what, I still went to the fence and I tried. So at least I could say, you can dog me all you want. There's 50 people here that knows I just tried to make some people
hmm
happy and give them a few minutes of my life, and we're facing a 4-hour drive to the next town. You
Yeah,
know,
definitely.
so I thought it meant something, and that was the way I was taught in the business, and taught to be in the business. And so that's what made, I think that's, it helped my popularity, I think, at the time, and that's kind of what I lost, and I want to get that back, and people will see the old Mark again, because WCW guys, they knew Mark.
hmm
The WWF guys didn't know Mark. So I had a really big hill there to climb, because none of them knew the Mark Bagwell that WCW guys knew and got to know. and they just knew that what I call the internet buff, which was bad.
Mhm.
It was a lot of bad stuff, and of course, everybody, they usually believe what they read, and then if you're doing good, then you call those people haters. If
Right.
you are doing bad and they're talking bad about you, then that kind of just it compounds on you. And I'm trying to reverse that and get that off of me and let
Hmm.
people see that I do care about the fans and I love this business and I want to be part of it still and hope that they have been so receptacle and been part of trying to, you know, with the part being part of the rebuilding buff. And I think it's great.
Does it seem to be settling down with them not believing it's you?
Yeah, and I'm just I don't get I just don't understand why I can't get verified.
Hmm.
Um, they and I'm not sure. There'll still be haters. I'm guessing even after I get verified.
Oh, there
But
will be.
I mean, we have every single thing that you're supposed to have, and they still can say no. And I just don't under from where I come from. I don't understand that game. If you have A, B, C, then you should be able to get D.
Hmm.
I mean, that's how I was raised, and that's how I was taught, and that's how life was when I was growing up. But for some reason, you can have everything. I talk to guys, and they'll go, "Oh my God, I had to do what you're doing for 3 months straight to get my." So it's very, very hard to get verified right now. It's very
Oh
hard.
my goodness. But one question I had for you, since you've been in the business, when you hear the term "build to a wrestling match," what does that mean to you?
Say it again.
When you hear the term like the build for a match, can you explain to people what that truly means?
Um, Setting it up, like getting it squared away on which way we're going to go, because but building it is like you go to the finish room and you're given a finish of a match, and you have no idea what that finish is. This is the company's idea of what
Hmm.
they feel like and where it should go. And so we work backwards. Everybody that's any good at this business, and I consider myself very good at it, I really do, because I've just done it for a long time and I've got a pretty good resume. But anybody that's even decent in this sport knows that you work from backwards to front, and that's how we do. We took a finish, and of course, you got to make the comeback make sense to get there. You
Hmm.
also got to make the match make sense to get there. So we go from backwards to front. We don't start with, okay, so we're going to lock up and then we're going to, we don't go like that. We go, okay, what's your comeback? And we go from, building the match of where you're at in your career. Um, if I'm much bigger than another guy, we're going to put over the fact that I'm bigger and stronger than him, and we're going to build it to where it makes sense for the crowd and makes sense
Hmm.
for the finish. And that's building it. And that's just coming up with ideas amongst each other, because we're getting ready to go on live TV, and I am not going to look stupid for
Right,
no
right.
reason. But the problem with pro wrestling is you're only as good as who you're wrestling. In other words, no matter how great a wrestler Ric Flair is,
Hmm.
if you put him in the ring with somebody that's no good, then that match is not going to be good. You put Ric Flair in a ring like with a Buff Bagwell or a Sting or somebody that knows how to work, or a Kurt Hennig, or keep going with great talents, then it's going to be a great match. But if you put, Ric Flair in the ring with somebody that's not a good worker, that's going to be, it's not going to be. It's only so much you can do. So
Right.
Ric Flair can't make a great match out of, even though he's a great wrestler, he still can't make a great match if his partner is not good enough to be there for the slam, to take the office, to just to slam him, to be there for his, to know how to lean over for his chops good. to know how to sell him to go to the next turnbuckle and turn and open up for him to do it again. And it's just, you just got to be that's called being a great worker. But
Right.
being a great worker is building the match to look like a great worker, to show that you're a great worker, and to close the finish and for the finish to make sense.
And are you a fan of the 50-50 booking WWE's been doing a lot recently?
I haven't heard much about it. What's the deal?
Like where one guy wins one week, then loses the next week, gets his win back, loses the next week.
No, I don't agree. I'm not a fan of that at all. But I can tell you how it went when we were doing it, when WCW was rolling. Literally, we were so over and things were going so fast that it was hard to kind of keep up with. So it got to where, like, I'd go to them and go, guys, we wrestled the Steiners for 3 weeks in a row. I mean, we're the champs. I mean, what do you want us to do?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, and Terry Taylor would be like, well, show me who else to pick. And I look at our roster and go, I guess the Steiners. Because there wasn't nobody else at that particular time,
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think I had such a great successful run with tag team wrestling, is because you had more room and opportunity to become a great wrestler in tag matches. Your tag match should be the best match on the card, because you got 5 people that's trying to work together. And if managers are out there, it's 7 people that got to be on the same page, that all got to work together to pull off a great match. But that's fun to me. That's hard to do, and it's fun. But what we went by was the 3-loss rule. In other words, if you got beat one week, you didn't say nothing. You didn't bitch or complain. You didn't complain the second week. If you got beat a 3rd week in a row and you're a Buff Bagwell, you had the right without heat to speak up.
Oh my goodness.
And that's kind of how I was taught from my peers like Lex and Sting and, guys like that. And, that was the best way to go about it as far as the talent. And sometimes they would actually say, when it really got hot, when wrestling really got hot for us, they'd come to us and go, hey guys, you got to realize, man, we got 80 of y'all we're booking. Sometimes we forget y'all have lost, 2 or 3 weeks in a row. So speak up for us. Tell us. So when they started doing that, they didn't come to everybody with that. They came up to the top guys with that kind of story. But we understood and realized that they may not just be screwing us. They were actually sometimes didn't realize that they'd beat us 3 weeks in a row and just kind of forgot, because they're trying to book 80 guys.
Oh, wow.
So it made sense. So I moved 3 to 2. If I got beat 2 weeks in a row, I went to them. And that goes where, all the way down to, if you're a Stinger or a Luger and you're getting beat at all, you go here, I think. Why am I losing? I mean, even if you get beat once, why am I putting this guy over?
Right.
So you gotta let everybody can't say that though, And we had a lot of great talent, dude. So it was you gotta understand, it's a little tough for the booking committee. Because somebody's gotta lose, But at the same time, you do gotta work together as a team and realize that, as long as it made sense, and every time I lost, not in the beginning, not when I was a rookie, but when I got older and became buff, it was, as long as it made sense. As long as it made sense, like when me and Scotty wrestled at Super Brawl. Can't remember what year, but it was either 98 or 99. And
I believe so, yeah.
Huh?
I believe it was 98.
Okay. And that match put the Steiner brothers back together. See, nobody really remembers that I lost. But it kind of puts the Steiner brothers back together. As
Hmm.
long as it made sense and it was for a reason that made sense, or it led you to another angle that led the storyline and the company and helped everything out, then it was cool. You didn't complain. But asking why after one or two or what's going on here is not a bad thing to do once you reach a level of being over.
Right. Well, I get that, and it's very, very important. Do you think Tony Khan needs a booker, like everyone is saying?
Ah, you know what? It's yes, I do, but it's hard, man, because whoever you put in that position, I think Russo had the best. Hate him, love him, whatever. I really like Vince. He's a great guy, and we had our ups and downs, but I always loved Vince. But he had the right idea at first,
Hmm.
and his idea was WCW's fall. WCW's downfall was that all our promoters were always um, they were involved too much. They
Okay.
started getting on TV and beating getting over themselves and kind of getting the what we call the red light fever, which is the camera, and and just a little bit like we're really let the talent be talent and let the bookers be bookers is how the WWF is. Like there's Vince McMahon, he's the boss.
Hmm.
There's in our company there were like too many Indians, and not whatever that saying is. There wasn't a chief, and um, that's why I think there's got to be that one guy that says yes or no.
Right.
And like with WCW, he came in and we thought he had the right idea because he said, I think this is y'all's problem, and I'm not going to be on TV.
Hmm.
So if you remember when he first came in, he had the Harris brothers,
I remember that. Yeah.
and he was off TV in 6 months. He's on TV. He's in every segment, and he's like beating everybody up. Hell, I think he even became the world champion at one stage. I'm not even sure. It was crazy. It was like, wait a second, bro. I thought and he set every one of us down, all the top guys, which is about 40.
Hmm.
Set 40 guys down when he first got hired, and said that's what he wasn't going to do.
Oh my
To
goodness.
my face, one on one, he said, "This is WCW's problem. I'm not going to do that. I swear to God, I'm not." And the next thing you know, he's in every freaking segment. So, I think Tony's obviously not like that. Has he ever even been on TV?
No, I think he usually comes out when the show's over or before it starts.
So you see what I'm saying? So I think that's cool. I think
Hmm.
it's cool that the boss don't do that because the talent should be talent and the boss should be the boss. I mean, Ted Turner owned our company and we had to beg him to come to some of our matches. And I don't think he ever came to a Nitro, but
Oh
he
my
actually
goodness.
came to some Saturday night shows with Jane. We had a meeting at one time, and one of the wrestlers asked him. They said, "Look, you own our company. Why not you come out and you know be part of the whole thing here to show the people that Ted Turner's here."
Sure.
So he came to some center stage bookings when I was there.
Um, that's crazy. So what w- like when they had the simulcast and you saw Shane McMahon there, what was like your immediate thought of all that?
We were in big trouble.
Like, did they tell you like, "Hey, you're gonna come work for me," or
They had a well, all the guys that were always late, which was I was one of them. But it was usually all the top guys. So it wasn't like that I was late. I was with one of the top guys like Lex or Sting or something. And it
Mhm.
wasn't horrible late. It was like an hour late or, whatever. But we show up Panama City, Beach, Florida. I'll never forget it. It was about 8 of us. It was like your Nash, Hall, Goldberg, Luger, me, Sting, a group of like that kind of talent, and we're all getting out of our cars and walking toward the arena, the building, and all of a sudden we see semi trucks got WWF on them, and
Oh my goodness.
we're like, what the hell? And I don't think we said a word to each other when I think back on it. I don't think a word was spoke. Everybody just kind of split up, and everybody went to their connection. They went to their guy they could go to, or girl that was in the company that knew what the hell was going on. And so when we went to them, I know what I noticed was people crying and people taking pictures with the original Four Horsemen, and people taking pictures with the world heavyweight belt with Flair, and I just remember going like, what in the hell is going on, And about that time they said, hey, Shane McMahon's got a meeting in this room over here. So we hadn't been there but about 5 minutes before they called this for the meeting, and we walked in, and he had about at the tops 5 minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes meeting. And he said, hey guys, he goes, I'm Shane McMahon. He said, we have purchased WCW. He said, we're going to keep some wrestlers. We're going to fire some wrestlers. He said, we're going to keep some refs. We're going to fire some refs. And we're going to keep some office talent, and we're going to fire some office talent.
Oh my goodness.
And good luck. And about half the boys, about half went. And some people kind of, clapped with them, but not like, for example, Luger was going the whole time.
Oh my God.
So of course, I kind of start doing this. I look over and Luger's not clapping, so I quit clapping, thinking, well, I guess we shouldn't clap. Because me and Luger were tag team champs. I didn't want to not do what he wasn't doing, and he's Lex Luger. So I kind of was like, maybe I shouldn't clap. So he left, and then it came obvious to us that we realized the most important part was, are we going to be on this show?
Right.
And me and Lex wasn't. And I went, I said, come on, man. Come on, really? And then so I go get in my car. I'm leaving. I'm depressed. It's over. I had a great 11-year run, and I'm going home, bro. It's over. I'm going to go home and figure out what to do. Keep in mind, I'm going back to a $1.3 or $4 million home that I'm not going to be able to afford anymore. I'm going back to an $85,000 Jag, 3 Harleys.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, it was over. It was over. Well, Lex comes running out to the car, like waving me down, and I stop. I was just pulling out, and I stopped. So if you ever watched that show back, I've never seen it. But me and Lex have an interview in the very first show that him and Vince talk via satellite. I remember Vince was in Cleveland,
right,
and we were in Panama City, and so I do the interview that we did. I can't remember what it was for, but I did it. And then I get in my car with my wife and we head home. Start heading home. And about halfway home, my cell phone rings, and it's my dad. And he goes, where you at? I said, I'm heading home, bro. He goes, you didn't see what happened? I said, no, what happened? He said, Vince mentioned 5 names and you were one of the 5. And I was like, wow. But no, I wasn't like overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
until I talked to some of my main guys like Lex and Sting and guys like
Right.
that, and they said, "Bro, Vince don't do that. That's big. If he says your name, he said that's big. He said that means he, you know, thinks highly of you." And then when I watched it back and actually saw it, I got like the second biggest pop too.
I remember
I
that. Yeah,
think
you
I
did.
think Sting or Goldberg got the biggest, but I literally got the second biggest pop, I think, and I was told that. So I thought for sure, hey man,
Let's go.
I'm in, I'm ready, let's do it. And so I had so much heat, man, in the company because they just, like I said, they didn't know me and they were going by how much, what a troublemaker I was and how mean I was or whatever they came up with, but none of it was true. And I mean, I can't say none of it, but I mean, honest to God, 90% of it wasn't true. And nobody talked about Mark, how sweet and nice and cool
Mm-hmm.
Mark Bagwell was, and what a good guy he was. It was all kind of negative and bad, you know, and hard to deal with. I've never been hard to, I've never been hard to deal with not one independent
No.
promoter out there. Anybody that's ever met me knows that I'm super professional,
Mm-hmm.
super nice to everybody I talk to, and I've always been like that. Yeah, there's times I've lost my temper. There's times everybody loses their temper, but I was near the monster, not near the monster that they painted me to be.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you got to remember, me coming in means somebody's leaving. So it wasn't like it ain't like the first guys that were going to be there were going to be, you know, popular. We were looked at as the enemy. So I came up with my agent at the time was Brad Small.
Okay.
I think that was Dallas's, and a couple other top guys too had Brad Small, real good guy. And so I came up with the idea, and he said, "Man, that is brilliant." And what I came up with was I could have stayed home, and I remember it pretty vividly. But my 100% June or July, but 90%, I mean 100% June or July, 90% convinced it was July.
Okay.
I'm not 100%, but one of those 2 months was the end of my career, was the end of my contract. And that was, if you look back in your books, I promise you, you could that would be the history if you looked at it. And so I went to Vince and said, "Look, bro, I can sit home and make another $60,000, $80,000." I said, "But to show my team,
Mm-hmm.
to show you, and to show that I'm a team player, I will I'll come aboard right now and sign a contract right now, just to show you that I'm on board with the team and I'm WWF, bro, all the way."
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what we were at the time, WWF.
Right.
And so my agent thought that was brilliant. So he took it to him, and I backed it up. So of course they signed me. They saved $60,000 by hiring me early, and I feel like I've paid my dues kind of with them already because I just saved Vince 60 grand.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good chunk of change. You know, I could have stayed
Definitely.
home and legally got. So I go on TV and I become the, you know, me and Booker are the main event on Raw all of a sudden. And I'm like, what the hell? What's going on here? So the catch is we were in Tacoma, Washington. Do you know where the next week was?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. You're one of the few that answer that. They usually don't know. But imagine being Booker T or Buck Bagwell and your main event in a match that was historic, that was called the first match of the invasion.
Mm-hmm.
but you're doing it in Tacoma, Washington, 5,000 miles away from Ted Turner's backyard.
Which would have been received so much better.
Put Booker and Buff Bagwell in Atlanta, and we're gonna tear the house down.
Exactly.
You put us in Tacoma, it's kind of like, first match of the invasion. Woo, So of course we got booed out of the building.
Mm-hmm.
Shane got booed. Arn Anderson and Scott Hudson got booed. Stacy Keebler got booed. Booker got booed. I got booed. Everybody got booed. And then they want to call it a bad match.
I thought it was a good match.
Go back and watch that match. There's not a miss punch. There's not a miss kick. There's not anything that don't look right on the money. It's not a bad match. It was not, by no means.
I don't think so. I watched it the other day, and I thought it was a good match.
Thank you very much. And the bad part is that I think that was their way out of saying, hey, we tried, but it just didn't work. Well, that ain't trying. Trying would be put us in Atlanta and give us half a chance. They threw us like to the wolves, And so the one thing you don't know is the next time you watch it back, anybody that's listening, and I want you to think about this, and I want you to try to do it.
Okay.
I want you to try to pick out the 3 nitros before you saw me in the invasion match with Booker T. I want you to find the 3 times you saw me on TV before that.
Okay.
Matter of fact, if you want to, you could go 5. And no matter how far you want to go, even if you went 10, I am talking directly into the camera on 10, 5, or 3, whichever one you want to look at. Down to 2, down to the one right before I wrestled Booker. I promise you, when I came out, I went straight to the TV and talked to it.
I do remember.
He stops me. He stops me in my music playing. Shane does, and goes, "I forgot to tell you, but you can't look in the camera."
What?
And my music's playing. I go, "Bro, have you ever seen one of my matches?" I said, "That's all I do."
That's your persona.
I said, "That's what I do. That's my thing." I talk into the camera. I said, "I do a few poses. I put a damn good match together. Put my little top hat on. Do my little strut. Everybody's happy. They sold up on Nitro or Raw." And he goes, "Can't do it." He goes, "You get fired if you look at the camera here." Wow. So look back at that match. I don't look in the camera once. Not one time ever throughout the whole match. You know how many times I looked in the camera before that every time I had a chance. But I didn't.
Or you'd be like this to the referee, pointing him over here.
Absolutely. You know me. You know I'll go to that camera because I knew there were 20 million right there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 20,000 right here. I'm going to the 20 million. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when he did that, it really threw me off. And then walking out and getting booed. I ain't been booed in years.
I didn't understand that.
Last time I got booed, I was Marcus Alexander Bagwell in Baltimore, Maryland. One of the biggest hill towns in the world. And so I was like, why are we getting booed? And because that's Booker T. He was the world champ. And I think that he had 2 belts. I think maybe tag and world, or I'm not sure. But he had 2. And I think it was for the belts that the match was. And Stone Cold also came to us, and no, we didn't have like a finish talk. So of course, after the match is over and everybody's kind of shitting on it and everything, Booker kind of starts putting the heat on me, like I did something wrong. And I was like, whoa, wait a second, brother. I said, me and you have wrestled 1,000 times, and we've never missed a step with each other. I said, we've nailed every time we've ever wrestled. We nail it. We look great. And do you know how many times I've wrestled Booker T with Too Cold, with Scotty Riggs, with Dale Wilkes, with Luger. I mean, it was with everybody we wrestled Harlem Heat. I wrestled, and it was always me and Booker would always do our spots together because our chemistry was great.
Right.
And me and Booker just liked each other. So, we go out, and Stone Cold tells us, "Hey, look, we're gonna hit the ring, and when during your comeback, Booker, we're gonna hit the ring. We're gonna take over on beating you up. Bagwell, you jump in with us. You start helping us." So he gives us what happened. He lays out what happens to us. And keep in mind, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin telling us that. So what would you do if Stone Cold said something to you to do?
I'll do what he told me to do.
That's what we did. We did what Steve Austin said. Well, whether they're telling the truth or not, I don't know. But Pat Patterson says he thought that Johnny Ace was taking the finish, and Johnny Ace thought that Pat Patterson was taking the finish because he does all the main events. Well, but Johnny Ace was the one taking care of the 12 WCW guys that came over. So they kind of blamed it on them that there wasn't a finish. So me and Booker wouldn't have an argument between us. And because he started kind of trying to blame me, and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't do nothing wrong, bro. I was right where I needed to be. I said I was on the money. You were on the money. We did everything perfect. And so anyway, the rumor came out that my mom called and tried to get me out of shows, and we got fired we got fired because the match was bad. I mean, it was just craziness, So, I look back at it now and it is what it is. But if you really want to look at it and you really wanted to harp about it, it cost me millions, bro. Millions.
Oh my gosh.
Millions of dollars, and up and down the road, and independent, having the independent world, which is, Florida one day, South Carolina the next, California the next, catch a red eye to make it back for Tennessee. I mean, we had loops in the good days at WCW and WWF. You went to a town and you had a loop. You went to a town and you had a loop. All of a sudden, there wasn't no loop. It was zigzag, promoter, and you had to kind of map it all out, And so it was very tough. And but of course, I did it and made a 18-year career out of it.
And you're still going.
And still going, brother. Still going and still here. And just glad the fans are giving me a chance to be here still. And I think before it's over, I hope and think that Tony Khan or somebody will see that that I'm still a talent in some shape, form, or fashion, anywhere you want to put me, whether it be with a headset on or coming out with my top hat as a manager for somebody, and passing the top hat to somebody, or there's a storyline with the Buff Bagwell no matter what.
Oh yeah.
If you want there to be, though. They gotta want there to be, but they're trying to force squares and round holes in a lot of companies. I'm not getting a square and putting it into a square. I'm a round thing going into a round hole. Right. I fit. It's just a matter of you just letting me fit. But I hope through what I'm showing that happens, and I think it will. And ultimately you'll see me healthy, and I will always stay in shape, and I'll be ready to go in shape because I'll already be here with DDPY, and that's what's keeping me in shape now. When I first got here, I was 268, bro.
Oh wow!
And now I'm 228. I was the last weigh-in I was 226, and I'm still big. I feel good. I just lost all that. Drinking alcohol weight, that water weight, and just got my life back straight. And the fans have been joining me along the way and with the ride, you know.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't actually know you were in DDP yoga.
Yeah, I'm at the crib right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm at the accountability crib as we speak. I stay here Monday through Thursday, and I mean, I stay. I mean, I'm in my bedroom right now. Buffs on the door. This is my bedroom. So I'm in the same house that Jake's life was saved by Dallas,
Oh,
and
wow.
Scott Hall had 10 years added to his life from Dallas. Um, so you know, this is I'm in that same house, and this is called the accountability crib. And so that's where I'll be. It'll be 90 days when it's over, but I think that's about 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks away.
Does he have you do a lot of training every day or?
Oh, we train twice a day,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, I've gone from 268 to 226, and I don't count because counting to me is dangerous. Counting means you're counting to when you can get messed up again or something. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
and some people count and they're not doing it for that reason. That's my opinion. I don't want to count because that seems like oh God, today's day 33. You know, I don't get that. You know, I think we're on day. I know I think we're out of the 40s now. I think, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe we're in the 50s, but I couldn't tell you within 5 days of how long I've been here.
Oh my
But
goodness.
what makes it hard for me though is when I leave here, then I go on the road. So this past weekend was Dalton,
Mm-hmm.
and then Winchester, Virginia, and then I got to be back here Sunday night, no matter how late it is. So this past Sunday night, which is last night, is it today's Monday, right?
Yeah, Monday. Yeah.
Okay, so last night, or really I can say today, I got here at about 3 a.m.
Oh, wow.
because I'm trying to get things done at my house and get phone calls caught up and bills paid and
Mm-hmm.
the mortgage paid and car payments, and I mean there's stuff going on, for all of us. But there's 5 of us here, and we all got to live together here and eat together and get along, and so it's a big deal, it's a real big deal, and it's been, like I said, the name of the show is called Change or Die.
Oh,
And
okay.
so the idea is like we've got one kid that came in at 512 pounds,
Wow.
and he's trying to lose weight, so he don't die. There's a couple of women here that are trying to lose weight that are
Mm-hmm.
here because they feel like if they don't change something, they're going to die. And then there's Butterbeans here, actually.
Oh, wow.
Remember the boxer Butterbean?
Yeah, Butterbean. Oh, yeah.
Butterbeans here, and then I'm here too. So there's 5 of us, and so that's what I'm doing, and then also doing all my shows on the weekends. So, and like I said, the main thing I'm doing the Rebuilding Buff,
Mm-hmm.
that podcast, and just having a good time again, man. Just having fun and being positive. It's been a big change for me.
So which do you like better, YouTube or Twitter?
I like Twitter, man.
Twitter better?
Yeah,
YouTube.
Twitter fans are the best, I think.
The thing I don't like about YouTube is they have so many copyright things.
Yeah.
Like you could probably put your own entrance music on and they would copyright you for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. You
Like
know,
if I were to put Buff Daddy on, I'd probably get this taken down.
really.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that a lot, but I didn't know the real, what the actual rules and all that stuff are. But I have noticed that YouTube seems to be a little more less lenient on
Mm-hmm.
things, and I do hear more complaints about YouTube than the Twitter. But my Twitter fans, they call me Uncle Buff and wholesome Buff, and they're cool enough to like try to help me out and with the
Mm-hmm.
shows and the guys they think are cool, and they just talk to me, dude, like I talk to them, and it's just a straight up kind of thing. And I got in a fight a couple weeks ago with uh, uh, Braun Strowman.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
God, he threw my DUI picture of him like,
that was.
and then I found that he had a DUI, and I was like, bro, you can't throw rocks in glass houses, brother.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why would you dog me out for a DUI that I've told everybody my whole story out loud and to be truthful and to be honest several times, and he goes the route of trying to bury me with a DUI when he's
Yeah,
got one too.
that
I'm like,
wasn't cool.
it wasn't cool at all. And I was like, bro, I said, you got to be kidding me, right? And he actually apologized to me, So that was cool of him to do. But at the same time, dude, I mean, it's like, why would you go there and make yourself look stupid?
He seemed to do that a lot.
Well, I heard about his little company or something that had like 15 people come to like 15 people showed up or something to his first show or his company, whatever that is.
I have not heard of that.
You haven't?
No, I haven't heard.
He supposedly has some kind of company out there that's like, him and a couple guys are in on, and their first show, 15 people showed up.
Oh, wow.
So it's easy, Ron.
It's like, yeah, just take that to somebody else. Don't go on Buff.
Right? Yeah. I didn't say nothing, bro. Why you attacking me, bro?
No, you didn't do anything. It's
That's
like
what I'm saying.
you're like the one wrestler that responds to everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
Like anyone else you go, you probably don't hear a thing or
That's what I'm
nothing.
saying. That's what I try to do is I try to be accessible and reachable, which a lot of guys would say that's not good. But to me, I mean, I've gave my number out on cameos and podcasts and 1,000 times, and yeah, that causes a little bit of trouble for me on my my phone, but it also keeps me gets me a lot of bookings and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think being reachable is better in the overall scheme of having a fan base and being involved with your fans. You got to get in there with them, instead of being away from them and not being able to be touched a little bit. You got to be able to be
Right.
touched, or you're not. To me, you're not real.
It's like WWE. You can't find no one's booking, even
Right.
NXT or the main roster. No one, and you're just like, okay, well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But oh my goodness. But one question I did have as far as the NWO goes, would there be anything that you would change differently about that to make it possibly go longer than it did?
God, I believe it or not, I've never been asked that question, and it seems like it'd be something I would be asked, but I can tell you, I've never been asked that
Oh,
question.
wow.
Not exactly that way. I really haven't. I don't know of anything. I mean, my job was not to be a booker or a promoter. My job was to be a talent. So I don't really, my brain don't think that way. But at the same time, I was there.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, though, like the only thing that sticks out to me is, that we always took middle of the card guys and that were ready to be pushed to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it seemed like we'd always would beat those guys and put somebody else over that just got them to the middle part. So it was like we had a lot of middle of the card guys.
Right.
Instead of there being like a Buff Bagwell that beat Ric Flair and Roddy Piper and win in Atlanta. Instead, I beat Ric Flair and Roddy Piper and lost to David Flair in Atlanta, Georgia, in front of 80,000 people. So things like that, they could have took me right there, where I was right here beating Ric Flair and Roddy Piper back to back, and we're going to Atlanta, and I got David Flair.
Mm.
You imagine my face when I went in the finish room and heard he was beating me?
Oh, I would
Dude,
have been like, what?
David, David Flair couldn't run the ropes back then, bro. I mean, he
Mm-mm.
really couldn't. I'm not being ugly. I'm not being mean. I love his father. I love David. He's a great guy. But dude, he wasn't ready for that.
It's
And
like
I was
David Ar-
ready. I
it's like
was
David
ready.
Arquette.
My God, we took a guy that's never been in the ring, the big Goldberg, So, just that was just that right there would be like one of the things that I didn't get. And, just there's nothing overall that was big. I think that you could still like pick like one thing to change. It was just a lot of, I think, bad decisions at once happened. And I remember we had Kiss, and
Oh, I didn't. Mm-hmm.
the rumor was that Eric Bischoff hired him for 750. But the catch was that I didn't get is I was like, I'm a huge Kiss fan to this day. They played two songs that I've never heard before. You got Kiss. I mean, you got Shout It, Shout It,
Mm-hmm.
Shout It Out. You got, Rock and Roll All Night. You got Lick It Up, Lick It Up. You got
Oh,
Detroit
great
Rock
songs.
City. I mean, you got so many great songs that Kiss could have sang.
Was it God
Beth.
of Thunder
How
one
about
of them?
Beth? Remember that ballad they had called Beth?
Mm-hmm.
Peter Chris is who sang that song, the drummer. And that was I think it was one of the only songs he sang. And he was the drummer that dressed up kind of like the cat.
Right.
His paint makeup was like a cat. And I just used to love that song, Beth. And it was a great song. My point is, regardless of what song they sang, there were so many cool songs they could have sung, and instead they sung two songs I never heard. So we're in Las Vegas with Sting there, and they're cranking out two songs that nobody's ever heard before. So it was like, what the hell just happened? So instead of it being one of the coolest things in the world, it was kind of like, did that just happen? So I don't know. It was weird.
I think what was it? God of Thunder was one of them.
Yeah.
I was like, what song is
Somebody
this?
asked, I told somebody this the other day. They said, well, do they have a new album come out? I said, maybe. I don't know. But I was just telling them the facts. I didn't know if they had another album coming out or not. But it was just, I remember listening and not getting the fact that I didn't hear. Like, I'm keeping my eye on a lot going on too that night,
Mm-hmm.
So I just remember hearing and going, what song is that? And all of a sudden, the next song came on. I was like, what the hell song is that? So it was just, I don't know, man. We always had a great opportunity, and then we blow it, like with me. I mean, like I said, I beat Ric Flair. I beat Roddy Piper. We're coming to Atlanta. Here I come. The place goes crazy. They're all excited to see the blockbuster, and David Flair pins me. I literally almost had to pin myself
Oh my God.
because he was so green, dude. And the fans knew it. And that's what upset me. It wasn't that I was losing. It really wasn't, bro. It was the fact that we just screwed 80,000 people out of what they wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to see me come out, do my dance, talk in the camera, do my double bicep, and hit the blockbuster 1, 2, 3, and Buff Daddy's the champ. Buff Daddy's the winner.
Oh my goodness.
That's what they want to see. Instead, they saw David Flair kick out of my blockbuster and pin me. Now, remember what I told you earlier about making it right?
Right.
They didn't, but they tried. They like had Ric Flair at ringside. they had Roddy Piper at ringside, like trying to, you know, like take my mind off of what they're trying to paint the picture of they were messing with me, which caused me to lose. And I can't quite remember the finish because it's so depressing when I think about it. But beating me in Atlanta, Georgia, was one of the
No.
look at my shirt I got on. I mean, it was
Yeah,
one of the
exactly.
dumbest. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. Why do you beat Buck Bagwell? Is from Marietta, Georgia, and from Georgia. Why would you beat me? I was over and from the place, and they pinned me. With a kid, you can't run the ropes. So that really blew my mind, dude. That was the longest walk. That was the longest
Mm,
walk I've ever had in my life toward the go position. It
right.
was so far, man. It kept getting further away. I swear to God, it did. I was like, oh my God, let me just get to that, please. And the fans are like, every single fan is understandable of like knowing I just got beaten, shouldn't have.
Hmm.
And so I'm trying to get out of it now. If I could have gone like this, I would have, but that would have looked like I was being a heel. But
Right.
I literally wanted to go like this so bad because of the stuff I was hearing. They were like, "Don't worry about it, Buck. They're just messing with you, man. They're jealous of you. They're just not pushing." I mean, I heard everything, which told me the fans did not get what they paid to
Hmm.
see. We screwed 80,000 people at least out of one match that they really wanted to see happen, which was Buck Bagwell do his thing,
Hmm.
and they didn't get to see it.
And that had to. I couldn't imagine.
But you just kind of go with the, like I said, you go back to just like, what do you do? I on that match when I got the finish, I actually didn't even go to Eric. I went straight to Rick.
Mm.
I went to Rick and I said, Rick, are you? I mean, you really? I, I know you've had to hear what's going on. I said, do you really agree with this? And he was like, I can't remember, but it was just he had some kind of story that was making up something that they were going to do for me to pay back to get it. We're
Mm.
doing that, but then we're going to do this, and this to get you back where you. Well, this, and this never happened. It didn't even make sense when he was saying it. But I love Ric Flair to death, but he's got to know that that was not the right time for David to
Mm.
get his push because he wasn't over, and he wasn't even talented enough to take that spot. So I don't know, just kind of it was a raw deal.
So how did it make you feel when David Arquette won the title?
That was at the end, man. I think that was our last pay per view.
Hmm.
I think it was. It was in Vancouver, and that was the Judy Bagwell and the Forklift match. I think
Yep.
same show. And so I remember just being just blown away, just like, what are we doing, and why? Why did we just do that? So it was definitely discouraging for sure.
I remember watching that. I'm just like, David Arquette? What?
Yeah, what just happened, right?
Off of Diamond Dallas Page?
Yeah,
Really?
right. It was crazy, dude. It was definitely was not the right move for sure. And I'm not even sure. I've never even talked to Bill about that. Like, I'd have loved to know how that went down in the finish room and how he okayed it and why he okayed it. And keep in mind, they had to tell him something. They always do when you lose. They tell you something they're going to give you back.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think what they possibly could have told him that gave him something back to beat a Bill Goldberg as over as he was.
Yeah.
So, wow. At the end, it's just a bad call.
Did you ever get to ask Eric Bischoff why you never got the world title?
I never was really in a position to ask that, dude. I mean, if you're in a position that where you have to ask that,
Hmm.
you're in a position where you shouldn't.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, you know, me asking, why have I never been in the world? would be like saying, why did I lose, last week? Or it just almost, you asking it is worse than I think than hounding them about it. I mean, it's just both of them are going to be bad.
Oh, okay.
So it is what it is. I mean, to the point of think about it, bro. Rey Mysterio, love him to death, but how did he beat a 7 foot tall Kevin Nash?
True.
I mean, that's and then you got a Buff Bagwell over here that's never won the belt. Again, we take middle of the card guys and we don't go like this with them. Well, that's doing that. But okay, well, let's do it with somebody else every once in a while too,
Yeah, exactly. Change it up.
Sure, switch it up. That's the idea.
Because you've won so many matches, and I'm just like, really? He never got the world title? That doesn't
Never.
make sense.
And I remember wrestling Rick Rude for the world title, like back in my early 20s, man, and that was a big deal for me, to be able to even go for the title. But
Mm-hmm.
then again, I was perfect for those matches because I had a good look. I could do all the moves. So it was a good win for whoever wrestled me that beat me. It
Right.
wasn't like that guy's. I looked like I may have a chance. So it was a good match, So back to you're only as good as who you wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like that with Rudes also, But you put him in there with a ring with a Marcus Bagwell that can wrestle good. I'm gonna do all the Rick's moves good and be right there for feeding for the clothesline, feeding for the forearm just right, feeding for the rude away. I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
right there for all of it, and it's gonna make him look better for his win. So that's a good thing and a bad thing. When you fit that position good, they put you in that position a lot. So I was always the one going up against somebody in the Dangerous Alliance,
Mm-hmm.
and Sting would come save me because I looked good. It was easy to get heat on me. By getting heat on the pretty boy was heat for them and sympathy for me. So I fit that middle of the road character, and they used me properly for it.
Isn't it crazy what Sting's doing at his age right now?
God, it is, dude. It's unbelievable.
Like jumping off barricades
I,
and through
I,
tables and
I just couldn't believe it, dude. And he, he always swore he wasn't going to push it that far because he felt like he never had to, and he did never have to. But I think he's got there, and I kind of dig it because I see. Because man, you got to realize, man, me and Sting were like this for years in rent-a-cars, hotel rooms. I mean, I know him like I know my brothers, and he knows me that way. And we're so, to see him doing that, I think so. I think makes me think like he's getting around a lot of young guys and wanting to show that he's still
mm-hmm.
a stinger, bro. So I dig it all the way. I think it's tremendous.
Then I think another match they got coming up is Dustin Rhodes and CM Punk for Wednesday. That should be good.
Oh wow, that will be good. I can't wait, man.
Dustin, even at his age, he's doing Canadian destroyers and all that. I'm
I
just like,
know, and he's so tall that's a tough move for him. But I think Dustin's always been an incredible worker. I'm a big Dustin Rhodes fan. I don't get asked about him a lot, but me and Dustin were friends. But I mean, he he helped me a lot with showing me how to wrestle and thoughts and stuff. Because keep in mind, is his father's who hired me.
mm-hmm.
So we even have videotapes when I was a rookie of Dustin being in the ring and like feeding me for me. I had the mullet, the mullet haircut, and I'm coming off the handsome stranger gimmick, and me coming up and throwing an arm drag to Dustin, and and just basic moves. But Dustin was just so good, such a What was his name?
That's the natural Dustin Rhodes.
That's what he was, bro. I almost just said it first, but he was just naturally
Mm-hmm.
great. You could just in this sport, you either got it or you don't, man. It's just a fact. And he's one of those guys that just had it. He just took the arm drag perfect. He took the hip toss perfect. He knew how to. He just, it was just natural for him. It wasn't like he went to school and practiced the arm drag. He just knew how to do it.
Hmm.
And that's kind of like how I was. And I'm not near the worker Dustin is. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you know, I literally got shown a few things and thrown in the ring, and then I learned in the ring, and looked stupid for a long time. But if you look stupid in the ring, you learn how to do it quicker
Oh, I can imagine.
because you don't want to look stupid a lot.
That's gotta hurt too when you land on that, right?
Yes, hell yeah. My back was one of the hardest things for me to get used to was hitting the ropes. My lats bothered me. I had big lats, but it
Hmm.
still hurt real bad because I'd hit the ropes to the side.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
knew this and my heels were the two hardest things to get used to.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That just I can imagine. It's is it like really hard surface underneath the ring? Like what
It's a
holds it
lot
up?
less. It's a lot less than people, kids and stuff think that it's like like a trampoline. And brother, it ain't. But you got to get in the ring and actually see. Like if I picked you up and slammed you, you would have a whole nother respect for the business and for
Hmm.
us, because it ain't nowhere near what you think. Um, to us as wrestlers, the WCW rings were great, um, but WWF rings, WWE rings are rope, real rope. So it kind of was more wah, wah, like that, where WCW rings were still cables with garden hose and tape around them.
Oh
So
my
our
goodness.
rings were vroom, vroom, and it threw you off. And ours were 18 foot. So here's an 18-foot ring with steel cable throwing you toward your opponent, or a 20-foot ring and a rope throwing you to your opponent. So you really had to, we went to school for a week to get used to the ring. I'm not saying it was that big a change if you're a great worker, but if you're a high flyer of any sort, be it via leapfrog, if you're going to leave your feet, you needed to go check the ring out because
Mm.
it was that big a deal.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like, do you have time?
2 feet's a lot, bro. When you're talking about leapfrogging and getting high enough and not waiting too late or doing it too soon and landing on the guy. That's the worst mess up in the world is
Oh
messing up a
goodness.
leapfrog. God, those look stupid.
Do you have time to answer a couple questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I know one of my friends has been bugging me to come on and say hello to you. Give me 1 second. And are you gonna be watching Raw tonight?
Oh yeah.
Oh, me too. So what do you think of Edge and Damian Priest? What they got going on?
I did. I've always been a big Edge fan, so I think it's cool. I think that's cool. I like it.
Is it kind of like he's doing like a vampire type thing, or is that what
It
I'm
seems
getting?
that's what I thought the last time I saw it. Matter of fact, it made me think of Gangrel a little bit.
Yeah, it did. I'm like, maybe he's bringing back like his own version of the Brood.
I don't know. He's saying, I just like it because it's interesting enough that we're talking about it. So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
get. He shows a good path to go on because we're talking about it.
Oh, definitely. I like his new theme music too. I'm just like,
Love it.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Edge was always cool, So that's he was always cool as hell. So I'm most glad him coming back was great. I think.
Oh, that's definitely apparently. they can't right now because they're 5 hours ahead of us. So
Okay. Okay.
that's their time zone. It's actually 1 a.m. there. So
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
Maybe next time. But thank you so much. Is there any?
Absolutely, bro.
I don't want to keep you too long. I know you're a busy man and you
No,
got
man.
things
Actually,
to
I'm right.
do.
This we're at the crib where they're eating dinner, and so I'm like, I can smell dinner. I'm like, oh my god, I'm starving. Plus,
Oh, I bet.
I think Raw's getting ready to come on, right?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I better let him go eat and do what he's got to do. So,
You're good, bro. I'm just glad we had a good talk, and I'm glad you had me on, and I really enjoyed it, man.
oh, me too. I really appreciate it. And is there anything you want to add? Like,
Yeah, I would, man. Please check out my podcast. It's called Rebuilding Buff, and
okay,
we're on all the major platforms and stuff. So reach out and watch us on that, and also my website. Go to marcusbuffbagwell.com, marcusbuffbagwell.com, and that'll tell you all the how to get to all my social media stuff, and
okay.
it's got all my DVDs and pictures and stuff, and it also the main thing it does, it shows my calendar.
Oh,
um,
good.
so you're able to really see what's going on, and so just I think that's cool. So just check it out, marcusbuffbagwell.com, and it'll just give you a little more involved in checking me out on Twitter and stuff. That's Mark Buff Bagwell. Um, and then it's not Marcus with them because it was too many letters for Twitter or something.
Yeah, all those character rules.
And I promise I'll be verified as soon as they let me. I've got everything they asked for. I have no idea why they keep turning me down, but eventually, I guess they'll do it. But I don't get it. But regardless, just it's a real. I'm really having fun with you guys. So
Oh,
stay involved
definitely.
with me. I'm having a blast with it.
No, this is awesome that we get to do this with
No,
you. But
no cap, by the way.
no,
No cap.
because excuse me, back in the day, this would have never happened.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I mean, all the stuff they're teaching me and stuff, I like it. Like I love the one no cap.
Hmm.
Like it's been nice meeting you. No cap. I dig the no cap thing. So
I think it's what if you put all caps, it's like you're yelling at somebody or something.
yeah,
It's like, no, don't do all caps.
yeah. No, don't all cap me.
Or don't at me. Don't give me the app.
Yeah, yeah. Please, no, no, no.
But thank you, Marcus. I'll let you get going. I know you want to get watching the Raw and eating, and tell everyone
Yeah,
there I said hello.
you're good, man. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you having me, bro. And that said, you got my number. You know how to get in touch with me at all times.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'm easy, bro. So I'm really glad you had me, and just have a good night. And thanks for letting me being on your show. And just like I said, you know how to get in touch with me, the fans. MarcusBuffBagwell.com, and check out Rebuilding Buff if you get a chance.
Absolutely. I will do that.
Okay, guys.
All right, Marcus. You have a
Y'all
good
be
one.
cool. Have a good
Peace.
one, man.
Thank you. You too.
See you, brother.
Have a good one.
You too, bro. Bye bye.
Bye.